Hey, welcome into another episode of Halos in the Infield, but a little bit different than what we normally talk about, but that's what's best about the offseason, like to mix it up a little bit. It's your host, Todd Fox, along with
Fernando Mendez, and we are joined here by Brian Crosby, who's the creative director of Marvel-themed entertainment. Brian, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys. This is awesome. I'm a big fan of the show. So excited to be here on talking to you guys. It's cool. Feel like we're old friends, but you don't know me at all.
It's funny. Every time I meet somebody whose podcast I listen to, I say the same thing. Like
Yeah.
Taylor Blake Ward, Steve Granado. When I finally met these people, I was like, dude, I feel like I'm talking to my friend. Like I'm sitting in their living room.
Yeah, well, you become a part of like the commute. You become a part of like the workout routine or whatever. And you're like, I hear you all the time. So you guys do a great show.
Oh, appreciate it, Brian. And we love the background, by the way. That background's sick.
Thank you. I got to be on brand.
There you go.
So I don't want to put you too much on the spot on it. And I'm sure you have a ton. It's like picking your favorite child, but favorite Marvel character, maybe before you got involved, like growing up, who was your favorite Marvel character?
Okay. Right out of the gate, huh? All right.
Yeah. We're right out the gate.
Hit me with the questions. Let's see. Well, growing up, I mean, I was not super familiar with Marvel outside of like what was on the cartoon. So SpiderMan and His Amazing Friends was what I grew up on. So Iceman and Firestar and Spider-Man, obviously on that cartoon, and then discovered the X-Men when I was a little older in junior high. Started reading comics and things like that. And now as an adult, I kind of gravitate towards more of the kind of street level, gritty characters are kind of more my speed. So characters like Moon Knight and Punisher and Daredevil, like that's really kind of in my wheelhouse. So those are kind of my favorite guys right now. Really excited for the Moon Knight show. So it's coming up. If you haven't seen the trailer, go check it out. And that's not a plug. That's just me being a fanboy because I think it's cool.
Okay.
But it's kind of a plug.
Were you a fan of speaking of Punisher, were you a fan of the Punisher movies or the actual series?
I kind of got more into it with the series. I just thought John Bernthal's portrayal of Frank Castle was so on point. The movies were fine. They were fun, but I think the Netflix show really hit it for me.
I agree with you. I just didn't like that John Travolta ending where they're dragging them through with everything, the fire with all the logos. Yeah, a little much, but yeah, I get you.
Is working for Marvel, like, is it kind of like, okay, so let's think about the great rivalries in the world, right? You got Dick's Sports Authority. That used to be a big rivalry. You got Walmart and Target. So now you got Marvel and DC. So like when you like drive past Warner Brothers, do you like aggressively like throw gang signs like no Marvel?
No, man, it's all good. I think it's more of a friendly rivalry. I have friends over at DC and Warner Brothers, and they're good guys, and they do great work too. So, I grew up watching Batman, and certainly, love kind of what they're doing with Wonder Woman and Aquaman, and they're doing some really fun stuff. They got fun stuff coming up too. So it's more, I think it's a healthy competition, right? I think when they do good stuff, then it makes us want to do even more good stuff. So, and the consumers and the fans are really the ones who win. So, no anger between the two, at least not on my part.
Well, I know you got friends with DC and everything you just said, but like you got to admit though, Marvel movies are way better than DC. I mean, with the exception of Batman, I think Marvel movies are more on point. Like they're more consistent, is what I'm saying.
Humble Brian.
I'm not gonna challenge that. I would tend to agree. The Marvel movies are hitting it out of the park, man. Kevin Feige, his team at Marvel Studios, they're just totally insane.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say that DC does genuinely a good job of is their animation. Their Batman movies, even some of their Superman, a lot of their comic book, DC animated is really pretty good. It rivals Marvel. Marvel does good too, but DC, for whatever reason, if they could just use that writing for their movies, their live action, be much better. I don't know. It's just one thing that's always bugged me, like why can't they make movies like their animation? So
I don't know.
Well, let's go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was about to bring us into, I guess why Brian's here. We'll let him kind of introduce the Angels fan side of him. So, Brian, what made you an Angels fan? Why the Angels?
Yeah, sure. So, well, I live in Orange County for one. I live probably about 20 minutes from Angel Stadium. Grew up going to Angel games. My kind of come from a baseball family. My dad, he played in the majors in the 70s. He played with the St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, Cleveland Indians, and then was a scout for the like the Orioles and the Indians and the A's throughout the 80s and 90s. And so me and my brothers, grew up going to baseball games, going on road trips with him. It was just, baseball was a big part of our upbringing. And I always gravitated towards the Angels, the home team, especially because, 1986 is when I really got into it. Wally Joyner, Wally World, that's what really hit it for me. And then we kind of went through that rough string, where it seems like almost nobody was an Angel fan in Southern California. And I think that made me like them even more. Like I kind of wore it like a badge of honor. But
I was there.
Yeah, exactly. I was there all the way through. Just always, I played baseball through my youth and into high school. And then my brother, you guys probably maybe have heard of my brother, Bobby Crosby. He played for the Oakland A's. He was the AL Rookie of the Year in 2004.
Was he shortstop or second base?
He was shortstop. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so he's the manager of AA Midland Rockhounds now.
Okay.
And then my younger brother, Blake, he's a scout with the Toronto Blue Jays. So baseball is kind of just all in the family, man.
Nice. One quick question about your pops. Did he win a title or get a ring because St. Louis was pretty good back then, Cincinnati too, during the 70s?
So he was with Cincinnati only for just a short time. He came on during the playoffs. I forget the year. I think it was 73. He only played with like 30 games with the Cincinnati Reds, so just a short time. But he ended up getting a ring as a scout with the Baltimore Orioles in what was it, early 80s? I forget the exact year.
Okay.
82 or something like that.
Yeah, I think when they beat the Brewers, right?
Yeah. So he's got a nice World Series ring from that, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
So then what's your first Angels memory you have? Like maybe at the stadium or watching Wally Joyner on TV? What is the first memory?
Gosh, man, it's tough to say what my first memory is because I like I said, it was such a big part of my upbringing. I almost don't really remember not being there. Except I guess if I had to pick one that really stood out, it was being there at the infamous Donnie Moore game in 1986.
Oh yeah.
So I was there for that, and I remember that being really exciting. Everyone was ready to go run on the field and everything, and then when it didn't happen, that was just a huge bummer, and everything just kind of went downhill after that. But so I remember being there. So maybe that's probably my earliest memory of kind of really being immersed in Angel fandom. But the whole Wally World thing, everybody was into that. I remember having my Halo magazine with Wally Joyner in front of the castle at Disneyland with all the Disney characters. And it was kind of like all these things that I loved about art and Disney and Angels baseball. It was like all kind of came together. And so, now as I'm 44 years old now, to do the things that I do where I still am bringing, Marvel and combining it with a lot of professional sports is a big part of my job. And so getting to bring all those things together is a lot of fun.
That's cool. I mean, I remember about that 86 season too. I was 6 years old and I remember watching that series with my dad, and it was weird. We weren't at the game, but we were watching it on TV. And when Henderson hit that home run, he's like, "We're losing the series." And he said it. And I didn't understand till later either the dynamics, them, because a lot of people think that was true baseball fans don't, the average fan doesn't realize they still had two more games they could have won.
Yeah.
But they were so deflated,
they were done. They were done.
Yeah. And they didn't have your boy Wally Joyner either. He had some weird staph infection right before that.
That's
series.
right. That's right.
So I think he might have made the difference in that series, to be honest.
Yeah, you never know. Things happen.
Exactly.
So what kind of I guess off-topic random question? So Angels and then New York Giants, right?
It seems you've done some Instagram stalking, my friend.
Follow us on Instagram.
I know I do follow you on Instagram. That's cool. No. So the Giants is one of just many partnerships that we do. And this has kind of become more of a recent thing for me in my career. So just to back up, for 10 years, I worked at Walt Disney Imagineering. I was a concept designer there, designing theme park attractions, all over the world. And then in 2015, I came over to Marvel and started heading up this new division, which at the time was called Marvel Live Events. We changed it to Marvel Themed Entertainment. And then probably like in the last year or two, we've really, started to ramp up what we've been doing in the sports space. And so, we do Marvel themed nights at different stadiums around the world. We're currently in the middle of it. In fact, I should be drawing right now, working on this big partnership with minor league baseball called Marvel's Defenders of the Diamond. We've done stuff with the ECHL. We've done stuff with Major League Baseball, obviously the NBA, the NHL, and the NFL. And so, we haven't done a ton in the NFL, but we've done some really cool partnerships. And one of them was with the New York Giants most recently. And we did a, they're collectively, their players are called the G-Men. Mm-hmm. And so we did a comic book with some of their players in the comic book. It was a giveaway at the game. And then I designed a helmet that was a gift to the coach. And it was kind of a Marvel themed New York Giants helmet. We gave that to them. And then I had a lot of fun getting to teach Blake Martinez, their linebacker, how to draw Iron Man. So we did kind of a virtual how to draw, which is something that I've kind of been doing since COVID hit, is these live Marvel draws. It's called Marvel Draw, and it's on the Marvel HQ YouTube channel. They're really kind of geared towards beginning artists and kids to teach them the basics of drawing some of the Marvel characters, so you can learn how to draw SpiderMan or Iron Man or whoever. And so I taught Blake Martinez and the host how to draw Iron Man. And so it's on YouTube. You can look it up. It's kind of a fun little thing that we did. And the Giants were great partners. So I had a lot of fun working with them.
Well, that's nice. Who's your favorite sports star that you've been able to work with, if you could pick one?
I haven't worked with a ton directly. I've been designing a lot of stuff, but Blake is the only. In fact, no, I think he's the only one that I've actually met. Well, I take that back. Gosh, what am I thinking? We did a partnership last year with the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
And Wade Miley. So I don't know if you saw this, but Wade Miley, he threw a no-hitter.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching the highlights, and he has an Incredible Hulk tattoo on his forearm. And I saw this clip on the highlights. I took a picture. I sent it to my business partner, and I'm like, hey, I don't know what Wade Miley's deal is with the Hulk, but like, we got to do something with him. And so we called up the Reds. We actually had a great relationship already with the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
And, being that my father had played with the Reds as well, I said, whatever we do, I want to be involved. I'm going to handle this one personally. And so we decided to create a commemorative poster to honor his no-hitter. And so I drew that. You can look it up on my YouTube, or excuse me, my Instagram. And it's Wade Miley with the Hulk. And it kind of looks like a comic book cover. And then we gave that away at Marvel Superhero Day in Cincinnati. And they flew my dad and I out there. I was there with actually my wife and my oldest son as well. And so we were all there in Cincinnati. I got to throw out the first pitch. It was pretty cool, and throw it to my son. And then we did a signing in the Reds Hall of Fame, just me and my dad. They gave us Cincinnati Reds jerseys, and they both had the number 17 on the back, which is my dad's number when he played there. And so I got to meet Wade Miley, of course, and his son, who's a massive Marvel fan. And he had tattoos all over his arms, and we had the Incredible Hulk there. So Blake's great. I didn't get to meet Blake from the Giants. I didn't get to meet him in person, but great guy virtually. But getting to meet Wade Miley in person. and to do that with the Hulk and everything, that was a really, really special day.
Dude, what a day. That's freaking awesome.
It was unbelievable. It was like a dream come true. And, you know, it was one of those like pinch me days where I can't believe I get to do this kind of stuff. And I'm here with my dad, you know, in the Reds Hall of Fame, you know, and never did I think in a million years that my nerdy career would at some point cross paths with my dad's career from the, you know, the 70s.
Yeah, and you brought 3 generations there. I mean, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool.
Weird how life works out, huh? It's kind of like you know, imagine it would feel like for your dad.
Oh, he was thrilled. Honestly, it's one of the happiest I've ever seen my dad. It was really fun.
That's cool. So cool.
Yeah.
See,
it would have been really cool.
That's killer memories right there. Absolutely.
So I guess I have some like fun Angels related Marvel questions. Okay.
All right, hit me.
So Taylor Tavon is the collector, right? Yeah. So would you consider Artie Moreno the Tavon of baseball, except he collects bad contracts?
Ooh, wow! Shots fired!
Hey, we tell it like it is on this state. On this side.
I know that about you guys. I know that. I don't know. We'll see. It's so far I might agree with you, but yeah, I don't know. That's funny.
Like Carlos Correa to like a 10-year contract. We'll bring you back on for you to say yes officially.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if that happens, I would agree. Yeah,
10 years, $400 million. What do you guys say?
Yeah,
that sounds about in the wheelhouse of Artie Moreno.
Yeah, just give me another Josh Hamilton, and that's a definite yes.
Yeah, right. That's why I made that meme of like the couple like trying to put the mattress inside of the small sedan. Like that's totally Artie Moreno. Like, how are we gonna fit Carlos Correa with this cap space we have?
And then the moniker is always, but can he pitch? You know?
Yeah. Every ever. Like,
if you guys can pitch, we'll take you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, right. Iron Man, can you pitch? Okay, so obviously, like, I'm only going to ask for, like, you know, the main ones. So, recast the Avengers using Angels players. Go.
All right, let's see.
Don't like you haven't thought about this.
All right, give me a second. I think Captain America. Let's go, Trouty. Mike Trout, Captain America. Iron Man. Let's see. Iron Man. Let's go Walsh. Solid hair.
Okay.
Solid hair game.
Okay.
Some facial hair. No. Let me think about that one. I might come back on that one. Thor.
We can skip Thor.
Yeah, exactly. We already know.
Okay.
Hey,
you know what? Can you imagine, like, hey, Noah Syndergaard, you're not Thor. Actually, Noah Syndergaard, you're Black Widow.
Yeah, so Black Widow, I'm gonna go with Fletch. It's kind of sneaky.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see, Hulk. No, I take it back. Tony Stark is oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank? Help me out. Third baseman.
Rendon.
Rendon, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Tony Stark is Rendon. He's got some swagger. He's got some cash. He's got the goatee. Yeah. Anthony Rendon is our Tony Stark. Let's see.
So I guess Hulk is
Hulk.
Hulk might have been Pujols, like, you know, but
that's an obvious. Yeah,
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I think Hulk. Let's go Shohei for Hulk.
Oh yeah, he's buff now.
He's pretty big. You know, he's what 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
You know, he runs out. You know, and he's a beast. He's a beast on the field.
That's true.
We'll go Shohei for the Hulk. Let's see who else we got. How many guys do you want to do here? How many Avengers do you want to hit?
That's it for the main ones, right? If we're talking like the OG,
the OG 6, you know, I don't think we got Hawkeye. I think we need a Hawkeye.
Okay.
Go ahead. You had an idea for Hawkeye?
No, I was thinking of one right now. I was thinking maybe Marsh, but no, I don't think he would fit Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I know.
Let's go Iglesias. Raisel Iglesias is Hawkeye.
All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense because he could target that fastball.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw in a wild card. I'm going to throw in a Joe Adell as Black Panther.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
There we go.
Definitely.
How's that?
Now, one other thing though about you doing that partnership with Miley, man, it just seems that with how you did that with him, it seems like it's got to be a no-brainer with Noah and Syndergaard Thor, dude. Like somehow you got to like draw him up and stuff and sell the same kind of thing. I mean, are we going to see you pitching at Angel Stadium too?
It has not escaped me that there is a guy named Thor on the Angels right now. I'm aware.
It seems like it's perfect for you, bro. Just like
I'm well aware. Yeah.
All right.
That would be fun.
We'll reach out to some of the players, see if we can get something worked out. Mike Trout, do you know how to draw any of the Marvel characters?
So I did, yeah, for sure. I love that idea, and I have drawn Mike Trout.
I saw that. I saw. Was it for Topps?
Yeah, it was Topps. It was for the digital baseball card app, Bunt. And it was we heroized, Marvelized, heroized, however you want to call it. We did 6 different players, and that was kind of when I really started getting into the sports stuff at Marvel. And I remember them sending me a list of players that we were going to do. They're like, hey, we're going to heroize these 6 guys for a Topps project. And I saw Trouty on the list, and I'm like, I don't know what artists you've contacted already, but I want that one. I want to do Trout. And so, I got to do Trout. And I kind of through my brother, got to know Taylor Cole a little bit when he was with the Angels. And as far as I know, Taylor sent that over to Mike. So I believe Mike has seen it, but I have not received any personal thank yous or anything like that. So just waiting for that call, Mike. Just waiting.
Okay. We'll see if we could have our people to contact his.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We have people now.
Yeah.
We got people. All right.
By the way, that reminds me of something. You guys, that's not your drawings for Fox NFL, like, because I don't know if you've seen some of their comic book stuff that they do when guys score touchdowns or.
Yeah, no, that's not us. It's not Marvel, not my art.
Oh,
but yeah, I have seen those. Those are cool.
Yeah, I was thinking that might have been up your guys' alley. I wasn't sure though.
We did something similar with the NBA last season. We did a game between the New Orleans Pelicans and the Golden State Warriors. It was called Marvel's Arena of Heroes. And we did a kind of maybe you've seen kind of what Nickelodeon has been doing with the NFL. It was kind of in that spirit. So the ESPN2 did the Arena of Heroes broadcast, and on ESPN was the regular broadcast. So our Arena of Heroes was this big Marvel overlay. So when Steph Curry goes up and shoots a 3, it had like a trail, fire cool. or whatever, and would explode and do a thing when it hit the rim. And we kind of played it out like a fantasy game. So each of the Avengers had selected a player, and they were earned points based on something they did throughout the game. So even though it was kind of a blowout for the Warriors, the fantasy element of it kept the game really tight and was really fun to watch. And Draymond Green actually ended up being the winner of the whole thing. And he was endorsed by Doctor Strange in that game. So that was really fun. So it was a partnership between us at Marvel and ESPN. So all part of under the Disney umbrella. And working with the folks at ESPN was just a blast. Those guys are awesome.
That's pretty cool.
I didn't get to watch it, but I definitely remember seeing the ads for it. Is that something that like you guys might do in the future?
Man, I hope so. I mean, no plans right now, but that was a lot of fun. I'd be game to do it again.
I would think they would go that route because I think the Nickelodeon wasn't an idea that caught everybody at first, but once it was aired, obviously they're doing it more and more. Maybe the NBA thing will catch on because it's a good way to get kids that usually watch cartoons into sports a little earlier, maybe. Yeah.
And that's what we heard a lot. We heard a lot from a lot of dads, dads and moms too, but mostly dads who were they were watching the game anyway. And they had a hard time getting their kids to watch the game. And they're like, hey, this was the first time I'd sat down with my kids and watched a basketball game.
Yep.
So in that sense, because, kids are into Marvel, man. So, getting the superheroes out there and doing some fun effects, got kids into the game. And I'd love to do that with baseball. Baseball, I think would be a lot of fun to do.
I just don't know how they would do it with baseball because, there are some stretches in baseball games where for non-fans, like it gets slow. You know what I mean? For people who like baseball like us, I mean, I like, 1-0 games, but, a typical casual fan wants a 10 to 12 ball game.
But see, that's kind of where I think where it might work a little better is like we've got more time to do animation. We've got more time to let things unfold. The action is a little bit more predictable in terms of, like you got a locked off shot for the most part from behind the pitcher. We can track and do effects like that, and then then do something on the field. I don't know. We obviously haven't discussed it in depth, but I think it would be a lot of fun. But basketball was great. It's already a very fast moving game, and then to have these effects overlaid on top of it was just a ton of fun.
Yeah, because I would picture if you guys did something like that in baseball. I don't know if you remember the game NFL Blitz. They did one for baseball back in the day in the arcades, and like when a guy would like beast up to hit a home run, he'd like turn into like this demon character animation style, and he'd hit the ball and it'd explode and it'd go into the audience and do all kinds of damage and stuff. I mean, maybe you could do something like that. I mean, it'd be pretty cool. Or when they do a strikeout and the ball like would just like split into different, so they couldn't hit the ball. I mean, they just did cool animation on that video game. I thought it was pretty cool, and maybe that could be a route. But so like with that, getting the younger fans into baseball, it seems like baseball's done up until this year now with the collective bargaining agreement. But I've noticed the last few years, they've always said, baseball has an older generation, mostly of real hardcore fans. Do you see it in your own kids and in others? Because we've kind of seen it on our end. The younger people are starting to get into baseball again. Do you think that's true?
Man, I hope so. I think a lot of the a lot of the stars in baseball right now are just a lot of fun. It's clearly like another generation. In fact, I was talking to my wife, we were, kind of earlier in the season looking at guys like, like Ohtani, like, Tatis down in San Diego. They just had, not Ohtani's not a lot of flash, but he's doing amazing things that are really unique. But Tatis is, he's got a lot of bang. He's got a lot of, a lot of flash to him. I think guys like that are really fun for the next generation. In fact, what we were talking about is I was like, looking at my baseball cards from the 80s, like those guys all seemed old. like these look like kids. And I don't know if it's just me getting older, but like I look at these guys out there playing now, and I'm like, they look like kids to me. Yep. And then you think like in the 80s, they were smoking cigarettes in the dugout, and like they all just had, bad mustaches, and they looked old. Like guys looked older, Yeah. You get Gaylord Perry rolling out there, I don't know. Just something about the players back then, they looked older to me. I don't know. And like I said, maybe just because I was a kid, but
you got like Goose Gossage look like he's like 110.
Yeah, you're like, dude, that's a man right there.
Yeah.
Not a boy.
But I mean, also like the players today are just built different. I mean, Mike Trout could play tight end and get away with it.
Oh, he's a beast.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like nowadays people might look younger because maybe they take better care of themselves. I don't mean that to any disrespect from any previous athletes, but they say that every generation is supposed to get better. And I think we see that especially with athletes. You know what I mean? Like they only look fitter, they only look healthier, they look younger because, we know more about nutrition now than we did 30 years ago. I mean, remember when we all thought the food pyramid was a good idea?
That's true. Yeah. I think too, what's helping the game is the whole let them play type thing, where the
let's get play.
Yeah, the unwritten rule is kind of being pushed aside. Where guys aren't after giving a home run automatically beating the next guy. They're able to bat flip and have good times, and I think that's good for the kids because that's the showboat aspect that draws so many kids to basketball and football. And I think that's what was missing in baseball for a while.
Yeah, and it is something that I think older fans are going to have to just kind of roll with it. Every generation is gonna make the game their own. And every off season, I like to try and go back and watch the old Ken Burns documentary. And it reminds me of really how each generation just kind of owned the game and had their own personalities and brought those personalities to the table on the field as well. And, the players today are going to do no different. They're going to make it their own. They're going to, it's going to be different. And One thing I do miss, though greatly miss, and this is my get off my lawn, old man river moment, but I'm not big on instant replay. I miss.
Ooh, yeah,
I miss the managers running out and getting in an umpire's face and kicking dirt and just throwing a tantrum, and they go back in the dugout and they throw bats out. Like I miss like the Earl Weaver and the Lou Piniella guys just really mixing it up with the umpires.
Oh yeah.
You don't get that anymore. Now it's, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh no, we're good. We're good. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Like, what's that? Like, get out there.
One thing I hate, but I think most baseball fans agree with me, it's certainly not a hot take. I miss guys running into the catcher. Like I miss those days where you were just able to take out the catcher.
Yeah, and look, I get these are multi-million-dollar athletes. I get why there's folks that would not want that to be a thing. Yeah. But it's like a fight in hockey. It's like, is this the best thing for the players? Probably not, to get beaten on the ice. Yeah. But the fans love it.
Oh yeah.
And plays like that.
Protecting the players. I mean, look at Jonathan Lucroy a couple years ago. I mean, we all remember that.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's just something about it. If you've been in the crowd, when you see a guy rounding third, the guy in left field or whatever's already picking up the ball, he's coming home, and everyone just gets up like, oh crap, here we go. Who's gonna win the train crash at the plate? Yeah. So that's gone.
But I think these new younger players are going to find different ways to bring their own brand of excitement, which is always cool too.
Yeah, that's true.
Or they'll just put their shoulder to the catcher's head and pretend it was an accident, like with Jonathan Lucroy. What?
We've seen quite a few players lately since that Posey rule was installed that they jump the catcher now. So sometimes the catcher will be down trying to catch the ball, off the hop or whatever, and they're already flying over the top of them trying to do like a crazy pirouette on the.
Yeah, that's like Little League World Series stuff, man.
Yeah, exactly. But that's exciting too.
Yeah, it opens the door for that. So, nobody's going to complain about seeing somebody, somersault over the catcher.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for them to do like a backflip over the catcher or something, like some crazy cartwheel or something.
Dude, that'd be awesome. Make that a bobblehead immediately when that happens.
Exactly.
Okay, so we should talk a little bit about what's happened so far in the offseason. And then, Brian, you're part of the show, so wherever you want to chime in on it, by all means. So I'm not going to talk about like who elected free agency and stuff. I only want to cover the big ones. So we'll start from like November 23rd. So Junior Guerra was DFA'd. That was kind of like the first domino of the Angels offseason after certain guys left the free agency. Keen Wong was released. Zach Wise signed a minor league contract. Keen Wong cleared waivers and became a free agent. Goose Gossam was not tendered a contract. He became a free agent. On November 30th, we signed Michael Lorenzen on a one-year deal. December 1st, Raisel Iglesias was signed on a one-year deal. Brian Moran signed to a minor league contract on the 1st. Same day, Sam Selman was DFA'd. Dylan Thomas signed to a minor league contract, and then Magneria Sierra signed a couple days ago to another minor league contract. Now, obviously, those were because the lockout's currently taking place. For those of you guys who might not know, you can't make any major league transactions, but you can sign as many people as you want to minor league deals because they're not part of the 40-man and because they're not unionized, which should obviously change. But as of right now, they're not part of the union. So they're free to sign. And if there is a lockout that extends into the regular season, I do believe the minor league is still going to take place.
Yeah, as far as I know. Yeah, minor leagues are still off and running.
So what's everyone's opinion on the small moves that have been made so far? Oh, and another thing I missed. Noah Syndergaard was signed. I don't know how
that little chestnut.
Yeah, that little chestnut. And then another guy who I missed that's probably going to be in contention here is going to be Tyler Wade. He was traded from the Yankees to our Angels and is going to be in the running for shortstop. So you know what? Let's start there. What do you guys think right now as far as shortstop? I don't think the Angels are going to make any big splashes. Contrary to the joke I made about Carlos Correa, I don't realistically see the Angels making a huge splash at shortstop this year. I want to say that Perry's going to make the right choice. But do you guys think they're done?
Go ahead, your show, man.
Oh, okay. I think they're actually not done. I think we're going to see a second wave, especially if the collective bargaining agreement gets done here in this month or in February, right before pitchers and catchers. I think there's going to be a rush to make some moves. I think a shortstop.
Talk about the CBA next, so don't dive too much into that.
I'm just saying. Well, that's got to open up the floodgates for. But I do think they are going to get one more starter. I'm still shooting for Cincinnati for them to get Castillo somehow. I know they've had really good relations with the Reds, but I do think as far as a shortstop, I think they're going to get someone that's going to probably hit you about 15 homers, 60 RBIs, nothing too flashy, just a good glove right there, and then have your boy Wade in the background as a backup, and other infield options. So
they missed the boat on Eduardo Escobar. They really did. He would have been a good guy to get from the Brewers after he became a free agent. He would have hit you about 25 to 30 homers. He wouldn't have broken the bank. He could have played multiple positions. The Angels need to not go after a big name shortstop, which successfully they've done so far, but the offseason isn't over. The salary cap is only going to get higher. I mean, we all know that's probably going to happen, and that's what scares me. Brian?
Yeah, no. I was going to say, it seems to me that, Perry's game plan seems to be get a lot of pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Just get as much pitching as you can. We saw the draft, right?
Yep.
The draft was literally all pitching. And that's all we've been saying, every year. I feel like it's the same story every offseason is the Angels need pitching.
Mm-hmm.
The Angels need pitching. And then we get into the season and kind of scrap together, a few guys, and we hope guys catch lightning in a bottle again, because they had a few good seasons a few years ago. It kind of feels like the early 90s all over again to me, as far as pitching is concerned. But the game plan seems to be get as much pitching as you can, and something's got to come out of that, right? Like there's got to be something. And not every one of those guys is gonna become a starter for the Angels at the major league level, but stock up on young arms and let's see what sticks. And I agree with you, Todd. I think I gotta hope at least one more starter comes out of it. I'm with you on Castillo. I was kind of hoping for that one myself. And I agree. I think a shortstop. We all know it's got to happen. There are a lot of shortstops that are available. Mm-hmm. I know there's even been, I've heard rumblings of Andrelton Simmons again, maybe coming back. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but, but I agree. I think spend your money on a big name starter and get a serviceable shortstop who's going to put together, play solid defense. Mm-hmm. We don't need a big bat. We don't need, more home runs out of the shortstop position.
I agree.
Last year, we had a big hole at shortstop with the defense, right? Jose Iglesias was a great defender throughout his entire career until he came to Anaheim. Something happened, and next thing you know, he's one of the league leaders in errors. We got so.
I had such high hopes. I had such high hopes for Jose Iglesias. I loved him in spring. He was kind of, one of my
was what everybody was saying.
Yeah, one of my traditions is every year me and my buddy Jeff. We take our sons out to spring training in Tempe. We do a big, kind of a boys roadie. He's got 3 sons and I got 3 sons, and we take them out there, and it's a great week. And Jose was my pick to click that year. Last year I'm like, he's gonna be our guy. He's gonna be a stud. The other one was Shohei, and good news is Shohei never slowed down.
Yeah, exactly.
He was hot in spring and he was hot all year long, and it was awesome to watch. And Jose Iglesias, I did love Jose though. Every time Shohei came in after a home run, he was like the first guy to greet him at the top of the steps, which I did miss seeing that once he was gone. But yeah, that was a bummer. I thought he was going to be one of our studs.
And bringing up Jose, like he was the first one in the last, I would say, few years even, that we really haven't had that clubhouse guy since I felt Torrey Hunter was here. Someone that was just a true leader, that he would be the first one to talk to the media. Iglesias, not too much to the media, but just as far as, like you said, being the first one to greet guys when they came in, always high-fiving, doing that Eric Ibar type deal. We haven't had a player like that's been very vocal on the bench, just as much on the field. And it was nice to see him here. And yeah, I had high hopes for him too. It was kind of disappointing. Like Fernando was too. He was like, man, I thought this guy was going to ball out this year, but
yeah.
It's
What do you guys think about Simmons? What do you think about that?
Yeah, real quick before we get into that, I want to point out one guy who everyone always forgets, who was a big clubhouse guy, and after he left, like you could tell there was a notable difference. Cameron Maybin in 2017.
Yeah.
As soon as they traded him, there was a notable shift. We went from being contenders to we suck. Because Cameron Maybin, like he did the hotline bling, all the guys were doing it. You can find gifts still of like Trout and Martin Maldonado doing it.
Yeah.
So like you could tell he was a clubhouse guy. I remember when I was at a game, like he was pretending to play catch in between plays with Mike Trout. Like so he was a big clubhouse guy that I think everybody forgets about. But congratulations to Cameron Maybin. I know he just retired, so I know he's probably not watching. But if you are, congrats, Cameron. But Andrelton Simmons, I was a big Simba guy. I loved Simba. I think it was also coincidentally 2017 where he was putting up all-star caliber numbers prior to the All-Star game and got snubbed. One of the biggest all-star game snubs in Angels history. He was doing really, really good. And the reason why he didn't make it was because Mike Trout made it, but Mike Trout was hurt. Mike Trout was elected as a starter that year, did not play in the All-Star game. So the Angels technically didn't have a representative that year. But so whenever I hear his name, I always think about how hard he was snubbed. But I'd be totally okay with getting him back on a 1, maybe 2-year deal, especially on a prove-it deal. I mean, he's going to give you good defense. He's going to bat about 250 to 270, but he's not going to cost us a lot of money. He's not going to be a negative clubhouse guy. The guys obviously like him. I'd be fine with it.
I think a lot of fans were kind of sour on him when he walked away, but I mean, he's got his own personal reasons. He did what he felt he had to do. And 2020 was such a weird year anyway.
I think it caught us off guard because I think the team, we had brought this up on a show, that the team did a really bad job of not saying, hey, he left for personal reasons. They just said he quit. And so a lot of the fans, like you said, we were upset too, because at the time, like I think we were only 2 games out of the last wild card, and they had a big series with San Diego.
It was odd. It was bizarre. It was a bizarre time to
because it came down to those last couple games.
Yeah.
But how come when Ty Buttrey retired, everybody was supportive? And I mean, we love Ty here. Everybody was super supportive. Everybody understood. People were like, man, I get it. We all lose the drive in our jobs. It's normal. It happens. But with Simmons, like it was handled so differently by the organization. Once we kind of found out what was happening, like 3 or 4 months later, like it was almost, I think it was actually spring training.
Yeah, it was
when
spring
we finally
training.
found out what happened. Then we all understood, and it made all of us feel like jerks. But it was just handled so poorly by the organization. It really was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think he's an interesting option. I mean, I think there is still obviously fans that like him. I think he did resonate. He has a funky batting stance. That's terrible to look at, but
when he goes to one knee,
it's miserable to watch. But he managed to put together a little bit of offense at the end there, and I think he will be a serviceable defender. He's not going to be expensive. I don't know. It's not the worst option in the world.
It does close up the middle of that infield if you put Fletch at second, and then you get a healthy Rendon, which we think he's going to bounce back this year.
Man,
depending on what happens with Upton, you might have Adele and Marsh out there doing their thing. They played really good down the stretch. So I think maybe if you put a Simmons in there towards the bottom of the lineup, he's not going to be where he was a couple of years ago, where the Angels, where he had to hit 5th, maybe 6th, because there wasn't enough bats in that lineup. Maybe the pressure will be off, and maybe he could hit 260, 270 again, instead of having all the pressure swirling on him.
Yeah, it's not the sexy sign, but it's a serviceable sign. I think.
Agreed.
I'm so tired of the sexy sign, though. We're so tired of it, man. Like Artie Moreno's a Tavon of owners.
There it is. You're gonna sell that. You're gonna sell that the collection.
I am. What I'm saying though is, I said it right when the offseason first started. I said, for once, I want the Angels to make the right signing. I don't want the big signing. I want the right signing. I mean, look, 2016 for Andrelton Simmons, batted 281. In 17, 278, then 292, then 264, then 297. And then when he went over to Minnesota, he batted 223. Yikes. That's a bad number. I get it. But every other year is serviceable. Are you kidding me? We would have killed for 260 last year. We would have killed for 278 and good defense last year. That's what we were missing. We were missing our, good defense in the infield. I mean, can you guys imagine an infield with a healthy Rendon? Because, his bat hasn't come to Anaheim yet, but his glove has always been here. Yeah. Simmons at shortstop, and then Fletcher at second base. I mean, that's 3 potential Gold Glovers. By the way, Walsh was also a potential Gold Glover. That's a good infield. Plus, Stassi also has a great glove and a good arm.
That's speaking of Stassi, that's the only other position I think besides pitcher, one more starter, and because I like our bullpen between the young and then the veterans that we have in there. The bullpen I think is going to be solid this year. But one more starter, the shortstop position, and I really think this year is important to get a serviceable backup catcher. Because we all know Stassi's not going to play more than probably 90 games. So we're going to need someone to fill in the other 70, 72. And someone not named Kurt Suzuki. We need someone that can hit his weight, and take some walks. I think that's where we this team has lacked the last couple of years. Last year we were second to last in overall walks. And that's pretty bad. I think if you can get guys on base with the hitters in this lineup, I mean, good things can happen.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. There's obviously still moves to be made, and that'll be determined after the lockout. So before we close out, let's talk a little bit about the lockout and where we are up to this point. So the lockout started, December 1st, I believe? Mm-hmm. Technically, I think December 2nd. They've only had one official meeting since that date, and they have one coming up on Monday, the 24th. Mm-hmm. Is supposed to be the next meeting where the MLB Players Association is supposed to have a counter offer. That's what's expected to happen. I mean, what do you guys think's the issue here? Is it just millionaires versus billionaires? Is that, the cliche answer right now, or is there something else?
I mean, that's the root of it. I mean, and then I think the players felt like they got kind of hosed in the last deal. And so they're looking to kind of right some of what they felt to be wrongs at that time. I don't know. We'll see.
My opinion, I think it's too top heavy with the free agents. Like only the real big free agents get the real big contracts. And then you have guys that trickle down with $1 to $7 million contracts, which again, for the average Joe, it's like, oh, I'd love to have that. But for baseball, that's like the poorest of the poor. And then you couple that with franchises who just are clearly not trying to win, Pittsburgh and a few others. It's like they want to have a floor to where you got to pay so much, and they're trying to get it because baseball over the last 20 years has been more competitive, but there's still that bottom rung of teams that if they don't try, they're making hand over fist money with TV contracts and sales and all this merchandise and other things that they could rack in money, but they're not putting it and investing it into other players that can help them. I think that's where the Players Association is mad. Because they want that extra position as well. They want to get rid of the DH, have a universal DH that would bring more jobs. So I think that's what it comes down to, and I think the owners are far off. That's why I think.
Well, the players want a floor and the owners want a ceiling. So
exactly.
Everybody's just pushing here.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, hockey has a floor, and they're very successful with that. I'm a Coyotes fan, so my hockey team is very much that team that's on the bottom. They never really try to do too much. They had 3 years just recently where they contended in their window, and now it's rebuild again. But that's the case with a lot of baseball teams. You know what I mean? You have a lot of teams that for the longest time, look at the Brewers. They were not competitive for quite a while. All of a sudden, they're good again. The Marlins just are starting to contend now. They made a lot of moves. The Rangers just decided to wake up. So maybe they wanted to gear up in case there was a floor. They can be like, hey, everybody spent our money. Who knows? Maybe they just got tired of losing. we'll never know. But yeah, I definitely think there will be some kind of floor implemented to encourage those teams like the Pirates who just kind of coast through to finally spend some money. But
Orioles seems like that.
Yeah. Well, the Orioles do spend money. I just think they're in the middle of a harsh rebuild, especially because they had the bad contract of Chris Davis.
That's true. It was a terrible contract.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, nobody wants to lose. No, I mean, these are competitive guys. Everybody wants to win. Owners know that a winner brings in money. Nobody wants to pay to watch a loser. And so, I think just some clubs are forced to try and be more creative with the revenue stream that they have than others.
And one other thing that's hurt, I think, baseball in general, two perennial playoff teams in the American League have the worst stadium issues in all of baseball and in most sports, and that's Oakland and Tampa. They've known about this for quite some time. The league never stepped in to work with the city and the owners. They've just let them argue between each other. And every time we've seen YouTube videos from Tampa, people have gone to Tampa. I think Fernando's been to Tampa. He says it's a terrible venue. I've been to Oakland. It's a terrible venue.
Been there too.
Those are two good ball clubs that are built from within that should be able to keep their players, but they can't draw flies. And you're either going to move them or you're going to build a new stadium. And I think that's a huge black eye for the MLB. They have not fixed that situation yet.
Yeah, both of those teams are the next ones that are feasibly going to relocate, right? I mean, actually, I think it was the day of recording today that MLB officially shut down the Rays' proposal to play half their games in Montreal and half their games in Tampa.
Oh, really? I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, I think that was just
down.
That's too bad because, I mean, I don't know if you saw the Montreal Expos. They had like a anniversary game up there. They had a lot of their old stars come up there. Moises Alou, Vladimir Guerrero. A lot of guys played like a Expos versus Expos type game. And they had a sellout in that old funky stadium up there, Olympia. I forget what they call it.
Olympic Stadium.
Yeah, I think the thirst is there to bring baseball back. They have a new arena.
That's just one game, though, Todd. That's just one game. It's really easy to attract for one game. It's another thing to attract for 80.
Yeah, but I think now, I mean, look what's happened in Canada. I mean, like when they brought back the Winnipeg Jets, all of a sudden, they're getting sellouts every game. I think hockey's going to work up there no matter what. But when Toronto wins, they get sellouts. Their fans are rabid. So I think it would work in this generation's economy. It's just, are they willing to take the chance? And that would have been a nice chance to go half and half, like we used to see. The Montreal went to Puerto Rico back in the day, half their games, or and Oakland would be. I think Oakland's going to lose another franchise to Vegas. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, Oakland's just is a rough city to deal with. You know what I mean? They're not as economically sustainable as their neighbor across the street or across. Yeah, I guess across the bridge there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the very last order of business that I wanted to talk about, Patrick O'Neill is joining the Angels on behalf of Bally Sports Web. Brian, what's your opinion on Patrick O'Neill?
I like Patrick. He's fine. I mean, he's not the greatest thing ever, but I think, he's okay. I feel like, I don't want to bag on anybody, but I can't say that I'm overly enthused with any of our commentators. Like, I think they're all fine. Like I do miss the Rex and Fizz days.
Yes.
I know people, kind of crapped on Rex on occasion, but I always found him, entertaining. Was he a little over the top? Sure. But he was entertaining. And then, he was the wild man and Physiak was the straight man, and they played well off each other. So I kind of miss that. Everybody else I like Gubazah a lot. I think Gooby's great. I think he's got great stories and great intel. Mm-hmm. He brings some interesting stuff to the table, but Patrick's fine. Like I said, they're all kind of okay. Like, to me,
if you could bring a celebrity in the booth to call an Angel game, or a Marvel person, or even a comic book character, who would it be to call a game?
Huh?
I'd say you're going to say yourself.
I don't know if I count myself as any of those things, but I appreciate the thought. Let's see. If I was going to bring a Marvel celebrity from it, someone from the MCU, I think I'd bring a Chris Pratt, Star Lord, to the booth.
That'd be pretty cool.
Would be a lot of fun. I think we'd get a lot of 70s, 80s music references. I think we'd have some good stories there.
A lot of good bumper music going to commercial.
There you go. So I'm going to go with Star Lord in the booth.
That's awesome. That's a great pick. And by the way, speaking of that, you mentioned off air that you were helping design the ride.
Yeah. So, so I worked on a lot of the Marvel attractions, including the Iron Man experience, which was the first one we ever did in Hong Kong. But then I worked on the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout attraction for Disney California Adventure. Worked on Avengers Campus a little bit. So certainly, been involved in those, but I was heavily involved in Mission Breakout.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to do.
Didn't they do an event at Angel Stadium for Mission Breakout?
What's that?
Didn't they do an event at Angel Stadium for Mission Breakout? Yeah,
I was there. Worked on that. Worked with the Angels on that. And I wasn't through that game. That was fun. It was really cool. We had the costume characters in the crowd. I think we had Star-Lord and Gamora in the crowd.
I did meet them both. Yeah, if I dig somewhere in my phone, I'm sure I will find the photos.
There you go. Do we have Groot? Do we have Groot there?
I don't think so.
No Groot yet? Okay.
Not from what I remember. I mean, maybe that was later on. I was there pretty early on into the event, like as soon as the gates opened.
Yeah.
Because they were like, "Oh, come check it out." I know they had like the cool photo backdrops and all that.
We need to do like authentic Groot baseball bats.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
Yes.
When they might have a lot of splinters though. That's the only thing. You couldn't choke up on the bat too much.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can do some more Marvel stuff this year, especially with the Angels. It'd be pretty cool.
I would love that.
That would be, because when they were due, I don't think they did Star Wars night last year, but
yeah, because of COVID.
Yeah, but when they did Star Wars, that was always a huge attraction, and if they can do Marvel, I mean, obviously that's going to bring in everybody.
Yeah, hey, I mean, we've had a ton of fun, crafting these Marvel superhero days, around the country. So I would love that. That'd be a lot of fun to do.
Oh, one last question for me. I know Fernando might have one more, but your thoughts on the Spider-Man movie, dude? Like,
I loved it.
For me, it was like a kick-ass movie, dude. Like straight. I mean, I didn't have nothing wrong with that movie at all. You?
I mean, so many Easter eggs, so much, fan service, but in a really cool, tasteful way that felt sincere. And I thought it was pretty genius. And that's not me, being the company man. I thought it was genuinely just brilliant. I was there in the theater with my family, cheering like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
And bring spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, but get out there and see it if you haven't seen it yet. Bringing back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and giving Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker kind of his redemption moment.
Oh, that was so cool, man. That was so
awesome.
Cool.
Just awesome. Yeah. No, it's brilliant. It reminded me of everything I love about being in the theater, and I hadn't felt that since Endgame. Just that, this is an event, and we're gonna, my family, we're like looking at each other, we're like high-fiving, it's like that kind of movie going experience. I really, really missed throughout the pandemic, and it's good to have it back.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great take, because I remember telling my friend, it's like they were doing the same thing. People were high-fiving each other. It felt like we were watching it at somebody's house. They just had a real big TV. I mean, just everyone just felt like they all knew each other, and they're like, "Oh my God, did you see that? I know, right?" So it was really cool.
Hey, I mean, money talks, right? I mean, Endgame and Spider-Man are both some of the highest grossing films of all time. So, I mean, money talks. People obviously like the product that you guys are producing over at Marvel. So, I mean, obviously, keep up the good work. I mean, not that you guys need it. You guys are killing it over there.
Because hey, man, we're having fun, and it's I like to say that we stand on the shoulders of giants on the stuff that we do. People like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko and so many others. I feel like they laid the groundwork for all this, and I feel very blessed to get to play in that sandbox. It's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Anything you'd like to plug, Brian? What you got going on, anything like that? Anything you want to share with the fans?
Sure. Yeah. If you want to see some of my art, some of the stuff that I'm doing, you can go to at Wizard of Cross 23. That's my Instagram. I post some of the fun stuff that I'm working on. Definitely check out Marvel Draw on Marvel HQ if you want to learn how to draw some of the characters in the Marvel universe. And for the sports fans out there, go out to the Marvel Superhero Days and support those. We're having a lot of fun putting them together. So hope people enjoy them.
Wizard of Cross on what again? I'm sorry. So
Wizard of Cross 23 on Instagram.
On Instagram. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna put that on there, the description there. Oh, it was fun catching up, talking baseball and talking Marvel, because Marvel is huge. I mean, that's it's great to see fans that are now participating in its creation.
Well, I'm a tried and true Wednesday warrior, buying my comics every Wednesday, fanboy, and so I definitely am living the dream, man. I'm having a lot of fun doing what I'm doing, and what's great, doing some of the stuff with the sports teams, is these athletes are now fans. If you think about it, the first Iron Man came out in 2008, so that's what 14 years ago.
Yeah.
So that our professional athletes now, these Major League Baseball players, they're kids. They were 10 years old when that movie came out.
Correct.
And so they almost don't know a world without the Marvel Cinematic Universe, without these characters. Those of us who are a little older, I mean, you mentioned going to the game in 1986, so we're close to the same age.
Yeah.
We remember a world before that, when like maybe you got like a superhero movie like every 3 years or so,
something like that. Yeah.
But these guys, I mean, it's what a time to be a fan of this stuff. You got 15 to 20 comics every week. You got video games like Guardians of the Galaxy coming out, and SpiderMan and the Avengers, and we got Moon Knight coming up, and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. You got 3 movies a year and all the stuff on, like, this is just an awesome time to be a fan of the Marvel Universe. So and the players are fans, like they grew up watching these movies, and so getting to meet some of them, like like a Blake Martinez or a Wade Miley, who are fans of the Marvel Universe, is really fun to get to interact with them and bring Marvel into their lives. So we're having fun.
Absolutely, because I mean, the animation that me and you grew up, I'm 41, so it's like the animation we grew up with, reading the comics, is not is now coming to life. Now the great drawings from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, early 2000s, is coming to life, and it's more believable, other than the movies like you mentioned, like when you were little and I was little, The Flash and stuff like that. It was terrible production, but it's not.
But we loved it. But
it's called classics now. But
the Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk TV show, loved it. Like it was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. I was so into it. So yeah.
It's almost like a Peter Jackson when it was the original King Kong, right? You know what I mean? You look at it now and you're like, ugh, that was rough. But back then when we were kids growing up, or you watch those old school films, you're like, well, this is awesome. And nowadays you watch it, you're like, eh.
You just got to keep telling yourself that paved the way. That paved the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
They died so that we can run.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, on behalf of all of us here at Halos in the Infield and Brian Crosby, thank you guys so much for joining us, and Viva Los Angelitos.
Thanks for having me, guys.